Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Talking SEC football again, but this time not about the Gators, but about the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide. The SEC championship game just concluded where Bama completely handled them, really in every way, defensively, offensively, special teams. This game was completely run by Bama. They look great. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today. Like I said, This is a huge win for Bama. Obviously, that goes unsaid. They lose, they're out of the playoffs, and they just beat a Georgia team that was averaging 6.9 points allowed per game. That is definitely an NCAA leading stat this year. They were 12-0, number one seed, unanimous. This is a huge win for Bama, and not to sound arrogant, but I knew this was going to happen, and I know a lot of people probably had the same hunch as me. It's a game where Nick Saban's team is in a win-or-go-home situation. They lose, they're out of the playoffs. Of course they're going to find a way to win. They have a great quarterback. They have a great coach. They have a great team, the best team in college, the best program in college football. Of course they're going to find a way to win. So I wasn't completely surprised, but Bama comes away with the 41-28 win and really handled Georgia in every way. So before we get into the details, my question of the day for you guys is, who is your 2021 Heisman Trophy winner? Comment down below. Lots of good options. Some defensive guys getting in the mix. Of course, Thibodeau from Oregon, one of the leading possible candidates. You got CJ Stroud. You got Bryce Young, the guy on the screen. Who is going to be your guy? Kind of a spoiler alert for my answer. It's got to be Bryce Young. I mean, look at him. 421 yards tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was an SEC championship record tonight. I believe it was 421 yards. The guy I think coming into tonight, he was the front runner, and he just took that to the next level. So I know I usually wait till the end of the video to say my answer, but mine is going to be Bryce Young, and that is kind of what leads me to my next point. Is he is what won them this game. To switch over to some of his stats compared to Stetson Bennett of Georgia. Bryce Young, 26 completions of 44 attempts. Pretty good efficiency. 421 yards, an SEC championship record. And here you see on the screen, besides the point, Cincinnati did beat Houston, so they will be also in the playoffs. But that's not what we're worried about here. Back to Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. This Alabama offense looked sharp, as they always do, and what you can expect them to do. I think they're only laps. They had a couple false starts. The first play of the game, they come out, they give up 10 yards on a rush to James Cook, and they get a late hit. So 25 yards on the first play, and they didn't look back discipline-wise the rest of the game. They didn't really make any more mistakes. Bryce Young was flawless. He had a 50-yard touchdown in the air. He had a 65-yard touchdown on a slant to Jameson Williams. The guy was so sharp, and this is a game, of course, that John Mechie, their best receiver, the new Devontae Smith, did get hurt in the first half, I think the second quarter, and did not play again. So that is a separate issue in itself, whether or not he'll be back, because that's going to be big. He's obviously their leading receiver this year. But again, you see Jameson Williams down here, 7 catches, 184 yards. Coming into today, he was averaging 105 yards a game. That's insane. Today he blows that out of the water with 2 touchdowns. So Bama came to play today, and Georgia didn't look bad, but 41 points is by far a season high. Coming into today, the most points they'd given up all season was 17 to Tennessee. Like I said, I've said this twice, I think, already, but they were averaging less than 7 points allowed a game. Come in today, 6 times that Bama put up and just ran them off the field. Now, Georgia quarterback play, I haven't been impressed with for a long time. I guess this Georgia versus Alabama matchup has been a long time making. Georgia hasn't beat Bama in, I think, since 2007. It's almost 15 years. So Bama's handled this team for a while. We know Georgia is of lately has been coming up short. They almost beat Bama in that championship where Tua throws the deep pass to Devontae Smith, and they just been coming up short. So this is by no means a huge surprise, but of course there'll probably be a rematch coming later this year or early next year in this playoff. So we'll see what they do. But I was not impressed with Georgia's quarterback play, and that's not their strength. Their strength is their defense, that front line, the linebackers. Everything about Georgia's defense is top notch in the nation. Their quarterbacks are not. Stetson Bennett looked sharp early. I mean, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns is obviously a pretty impressive stat line. More completions than Bryce Young. But less yards, less touchdowns. But the turnovers were key. The first turnover you can arguably blame on the tight end. Bowers stopped the route and it got jumped and got picked off. But the second one, which ended up being a pick six, which really sealed the game, was on Stetson Bennett. He didn't look great. And I would have honestly liked to see JT Daniels get some playing time. I mean, obviously, Stetson has earned the starting job. He's been playing more. Kirby Smart likes him better because he's more mobile. But put him in the game when you're down 14 points and you're obviously struggling to put anything together. I would have liked to see JT Daniels get into the game just in case you want to switch it up for the next time these two teams play, because like I said, it's going to happen. Whatever the seeding is, looks like, in my opinion, I think Bama jumps to 1, Georgia falls to 3, and then depending on how the Big Ten championship game goes, which is actually going on right now, then maybe whatever the seeding ends up, I do foresee a Bama Georgia rematch. So they're going to have to make some changes, and I would like to see Georgia make the changes at the quarterback position. Don't necessarily start JT Daniels. Don't announce him as a starter. I don't want to see that. I think Stetson Bennett is the guy to start the game. But if he struggles like he did tonight, just give the other guy a shot. I mean, obviously he's there for a reason. So I would like to see some of those changes. And then, of course, you see Georgia's leading receiver, Bowers, their tight end, the best in the nation pretty much. 140 yards, a touchdown, 10 catches. He is their guy. Now, he did, like I said, Stetson Bennett's first interception. The tight end runs a hook route and stops. That was Bowers. And obviously that was a mistake that cost them. They were inside the red zone. They were inside the 20-yard line. So that cost them a lot. And then, not to say that it should have been caught. I mean, obviously, I'm not a college football player, and I'm not playing Alabama in the SEC championship game in double coverage. But there was a play. The score was 31-17. It was, I think the Bulldogs had the ball like the 20. They go over the middle to Bowers. He has the ball in his hands, comes down with it. The ground bounces it out. And then next thing you know, Bennett throws the interception, and it's turned around from what could have been a 31-24 game to a 31-17 game with Bama having the ball. So that was a huge change in the game when I really said, okay, wow, Georgia's really not going to win this game, and Bama's going to run away with it. So a couple key plays, a mistake from Bowers, multiple mistakes from Bowers, despite his fantastic game, and a big mistake from Stetson Bennett cost the Georgia Bulldogs the game. But I really want to highlight the fact that their defense was just not it tonight. They were leaving guys over the middle. Like I said, Williams had that 60-yard touchdown pass over the middle when there wasn't a guy in coverage within 10 yards of him. And then, of course, they allowed themselves to get beat by Williams again down the field when Bryce Young hits him for 50 yards in the air and a 55-yard touchdown. So Georgia's defense did not live up to what they were supposed to be. And this just goes to show that Georgia's offense is nothing special. Their defense is what kept them as the number one team in the country, the best defense ever, maybe the best defense this year by far. So in a game where Nick Saban, obviously the greatest college football mind, is able to pick apart what their defense does, here is a 17-point loss. So Georgia's defense is their one claim to fame right now, and tonight it let them down, and we see what that team is with their defense playing 6.9 points allowed per game like they have been all season. So in all honesty, this was, yes, it's an upset, but this creates more organization moving forwards with the college football playoff, because you imagine now if Bama would have lost this game, they got 2 losses, they're bounced out. Oklahoma State lost today, so maybe Notre Dame slides in, which I hate the idea of because they always choke. So now we have a playoff that's going to include both of these teams, and then probably Michigan if they can seal the deal tonight, and Cincinnati. So it's more to script what we expected for the playoff picture than if Bama would have lost. So I like this game a lot. I like the way this turned out. And for the first time in my life, I found myself rooting for Alabama because as a Florida fan, Georgia being in the SEC East, it just doesn't sit right with me to root for them. So for the first time, I was rooting for Nick Saban and that Crimson Tide, and they pulled through and absolutely dominated a great Georgia team. So Kirby Smart and that Georgia team is going to have to make a lot of changes moving forward, just with their defensive schemes. Cover the middle of the field much better because, like I said, Alabama was carving them up over the middle with the tight ends, with receivers. So make changes there. And then I would like to see some more diversity at quarterback play because Stetson Bennett just wasn't good enough tonight to beat this Crimson Tide team. That's pretty much all I have to say. We've already covered the question today. Bryce Young is going to be the Heisman winner because of the way he played tonight. That is my final take. And again, Alabama wins to secure, to do what they can to make sure they're in the playoffs. And I like to see that a lot from the Crimson Tide. And now I think we're going to have a very interesting rematch between these two teams in the playoffs. Guys, thanks for watching. 2 Minute Warning.